Welcome back to a brand new video. Yeah, fuck you. As soon as I said, all right, welcome back, you hear whoop in the background. Whatever. Anyhow, welcome back to a brand new video of the Target Individual Program, Target Individual Experience. Been texting with Pam back and forth. She went out on her date. Of course, she leaves just before 9. And I said to her, I said, you know, you're going out this late. You know, what time are you going to get back to be with these kids? She's like, oh, don't worry. She's like, look, he dropped a white piece of paper. The guy across the street with like the dreads. He got a white piece of paper in his hand and he dropped it. Now, why is he walking with his shirt, with his belly showing, his shirt up like that? Again, the sort of, they're not threatening me. I mean, I already told her that, well, look at the person leaving. Look at you leaving. See me record. Look at you leaving. Stand up on the fence. Anyhow, yeah, slick. Yeah, that's slick. All right, grabbing his crotch as you come back. Yeah, I certainly hope it's on video. Anyhow, you know, so these are the type of things that they'll do. I said, it doesn't. Yeah, she's gonna put herself in a pretty bad predicament if she allowed that to happen. Okay, so like I said, at this point I don't really, I'm not concerned about that. That's her business. You know, but they keep thinking that because I care, right, that they can somehow use her to manipulate me, right? Which, you know, they can't. Right? I mean, they've been trying to do this shit for years. White girl. Yeah, white woman, I should say. White girl. But anyhow, they can't do that shit. They can't do that shit at all. And they tried. They've tried. See, I'm still doing my recording. Even with the blitz that they did today. I still uploading my videos. Right? Like I said, this is a fight that I've been ready to have, been willing to have, and I continue to fight. All right, despite their lies and their deception, their tricks, because there are certain things they don't want people to know. All right, the manipulation, the use of honey traps, covert drugging, you know, a whole bunch of shit. You know, it's like, you know, they attempt to try to get me hooked on drugs. So, you know, all part of the Coercive Persuasion program. Yeah, that's the psychological aspect. And the Zersetzung part of it is the decomposition within the society of the individual, their social lifestyle, their social life, their family life, their intellect, their education, you know, their business ventures, whatever it is to utterly sabotage and destroy those things. Okay? And you know, the use of propaganda to weaponize, use of technology to violate and invade people's privacy in a manner that, again, goes against the so-called Constitution. All right? And you know, watching a video today on this video with Dr. Ritchie, and he's talking about a lawyer, and I've been saying this for years. This is how white people steal black people's homes, right? They go to their place of business, they find out who owns the home, they go to that individual place of business, conspire with their employer to fire those individuals, right? And whichever house they're interested in, you know, conspire with the banks to deny them refinancing loan and all this other stuff, right? To eventually black homeowners lose their home, right? Because one, they can't make the mortgage anymore because, again, they're unemployed, right? And so this is, again, ways in which white people commit violence on black people. But in America, that's totally okay, that's totally fine, right? If for decades, the continued theft of black land, black homes, black, you know, because, again, this is what they do. I talk about the sociopathic, psychopathic, and relationship that white people have with black people in American society. Okay, it is a relationship based on that, on sociopathic and psychopathic on the part of white people towards black people. Okay, so in the video you had a lawyer and his brother, okay, who had to do with some property that they were told that they couldn't be at the property, what have you, by the land owner, by the property owner, even though they had a lease, whatever reason. So these brothers filed a civil suit against the property owner. And what happened, the property owner got a judge, right, to interfere with these two black men in their civil suit and basically arrested and imprisoned one of them. Okay? I mean, these things happen all the time with black people, but nobody wants to believe it. Like I said, as I say, they swear up and down that no one's going to believe what I'm saying. And as much as that, again, they do things to gaslight you, you just got, as a TI, ignore all of that. Okay, ignore all of that. Understand that they're going to do things to try to make you look as if you don't know what you're talking about, so people can not believe you. But for the most part, you're going to, if you're documenting like I'm documenting, you're going to get some gems in which you can expose them. Okay, and then you'll start to see how they will adjust, and they will start to do things to make it look like, oh, you don't know what he's talking about. Just like how the guy on the bike and the young kid, the guy on the bike and the other kid, stand up at the fence as he stops the bike, kids walk to him and give him something, right? And this happened before too, where me and my daughter was walking up from doing the groceries, and there was this guy, he was on a scooter, and another guy came up to him and gave him like a little packet. It could be weed or what have you. I don't know, drugs or what have you. I'm just saying, I'm just speculating, because it's very odd the way how they do that, right? Just like how they did here, right? So again, these are the things that they do, right? So I am not surprised, because again, when they try to destroy your life, they want you to get into a life of crime. That's basically what it is, right? So they can arrest you, incarcerate, get rid of you as a TI. Like I said, because then they don't have to they're not going to engage in a level of harassment, police harassment, or incarceration based on whatever it is that they're saying, because they know it's not true. So they have to put you in a situation, in a condition where you can make a mistake, so you can be arrested. They can charge you with that instead of, them trying to get rid of you on whatever charges they want to bring up that they know is false. And particularly since I've been exposing them and what they've been doing over the past 2 decades with the honey traps, the subliminal messages, what have you, and and such, and trying to use the kid's mother as a tool by giving her a job and giving her in a position in where she's making close to 6 figures, even over 6 figures now, right? And she is going to be protective of that position, because again, who am I? I'm just the father of a child who she calls crazy from time to time whenever I stand up to her and confront her and her targeting of me. Then she'd turn around and she'd be like, oh, okay, well, you know what, I guess something is wrong with you. You are crazy, right? So again, but I'm not crazy when she wants me to babysit and she wants to go wherever she wants to go. When she wants to, when I was getting those headaches frequently, and I said to her, listen, I can't take the kids this weekend because my head was hurting because of the headaches, and I had to drive and I didn't feel safe. Oh, she was like, ain't nothing wrong with you. You fine, right? You fine. Despite the fact that she heard me yelling in pain, right? So again, this is how they condition black women to be, right? To not give a damn about black men in particular, right? Because one, they're growing up, their father might have been absent, they might have gone through trauma or what have you, and they have a misandry towards men that's deeply hidden. And that's why when they see you as a man, particularly, I tell my son, spend your 20s working and building your financial resources. Forget about women. These women will only see you, right, based on what you wear, what car you drive, how much money you have in the bank. I said, you want to meet a woman who is going to care for you, who's going to be concerned, who's going to support you, who's going to be on your, on your program, okay? Or if she is, the better leader, right? Then you support her, you talk to her, and you might have to get on her program for a little bit and then get on your program. I said, but you have to know what kind of woman you are dealing with. Because a lot of these women, you will help them get college degrees, you will help them go to school, do all that stuff. And as soon as they get their college degree, they think that they're better than you. Okay? They won't even say, you know what, okay, let me help him now. So that way, when he gets his degree, when he, his business off the ground, then we can be fine. But they don't think like that. And this is how they see white people use black men in particular, even in the job market. And so they've developed that same mindset in the relationship. Okay? And they swear, that their vagina is gold, right? So that's the only thing that they want to bring. I bring good vagina, good coochie, and that's it. You should just accept me for all my flaws because I put it down in the bedroom, right? Now imagine a man talking like that. Imagine imagine men particularly talking like that, right? And you guys can go do some research for me. Go to YouTube, go to Instagram, and see how many women, particularly black women, are disparaging black men, are disrespecting black men. Also, are disrespecting themselves. Twerking, pulling their dress up, showing their asses or what have you, right? And then go and do another search of white women doing the same, of Asian women doing the same, as Muslim women doing the same, right? Of any other group of women doing the same. Yeah, you may find a small percentage of other groups of women doing it, but that's a small percentage. But you will find thousands of videos online of these black women, these Negro women doing that, right? And again, they have no correction at all. They want no correction. You can't tell them nothing, okay? Nobody can tell them what to do with their body, but there's a thing called respectability and being respected, okay? Because you see, let me tell you something. The Asian woman is not going to stand for Asian woman is not going to stand for other Asian women doing that and becoming the face of who they are. No, they're not going to stand for it. White women are not going to stand for other white women doing that and becoming the face of who white women are. They're not going to stand for it. Hispanic women are not going to stand in the face of those Hispanic women who are doing that and say that's okay and they're the face of who Hispanic women are. No. But black women, they will stand, they will co-sign each other bullshit, even if it makes them look negative to the rest of the world. You know what I'm saying? Because of how they've been conditioned. And black men, let me tell you, like for example, with Pam, her date, what have you. And I'm just like, okay, the person who she dated knows she has children. Right? My son is 14, my daughter is 10 years old. Okay? Instead of saying, hey, you know what, let's reschedule because it's late, what have you, it's like, no. Okay, again, this is for men with children. This is why it's important. It's important, right, to be active in your children's life. Because for those children who fathers are not active in their life as much as I am in my kid's life, and I wish I could be more active, right? But again, I know my limitation, and I'm not trying to do anything that's going to injure me even more. And that's one thing. So despite of what they do, or what they try to make me believe, I don't believe it, And they'll send you all kinds of subliminal message, or your back is fit, whatever. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Okay? I'm not stupid. All right? Okay, she looks nice. Dressed nice. See? You look at how she's dressed. She's dressing nice. She's not showing half her ass, and she looks actually gorgeous. All right? So, yeah. Anyhow, you got to be active in your children's life because some of these other men, because they know that those kids are not theirs, okay, they don't care, right? You see, when I was dating, before I met the kid's mother, I've dated 2 women that have kids, and I've treated their son one had two sons. I treated their sons like they're my own. Okay? But I noticed a difference when it comes to how they treated my son. And at the time I only had one son, right? My oldest. Okay? And so I already know how women are. Right? But for men, as for black men, and every time, like for example, if something happened, we had a date, what have you, and they couldn't get a babysitter, what have you, I either say, okay, you know what? Well, let's meet up early. You could bring your son, right? That's fine. You just meet up early, what have you, and we'll have a dinner. I'll go get my son and we'll hang out, okay? And that is how I am. Still am that way. But I understand that other men who are not going to treat my kids the same way, because that's not their children. And I don't blame them, I don't fault them. You know what I'm saying? But what I don't appreciate and I don't like is the fact that it is late. My kids are 14 and 10. Okay, she's gonna be out all night. And I asked her, so when I was leaving, she texted me, she's like, leave the keys with my son. I said, I'm not walking back over there. And she's like, well, I want to go do grocery shopping tomorrow. I said, okay, well then, you leave them with your keys, right? I said, you leave them with your keys. Oh, no, I don't want. Why? Because she's planning to spend the whole night out, right? Probably, half the day tomorrow, and leaving a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old by themselves. And I said to her, I said, these kids are 10 and 14. She's like, they'll be all right. I'm like, really? They'll be all right, Pamela? I said, okay. But that's the mindset that they have. And, let me tell you something. When I was younger, my mother used to work at night. She used to work 2 jobs, actually. So I know that when you have young kids, particularly young boys, right? The mother's working all the time. Okay, and then if she's not working, she's in church. And then she's dragging your brother to church with her. Sometimes look at your credit department, right? She don't teach you anything about life. So what happens? You have friends, okay, who may be into certain things, and you might get caught up in it. Now, not everyone might get caught up in it, but you might get caught up in it. And the way I think is that, like I said, even if your child is not my child, if I see your child do something that's destructive, not just himself but to others, I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna say something. I might do something. Not anything against the kid, but I might just make them stop that child from, doing something negative. But what they've done, particularly in the black community, is to delete our love, not only for each other, but for our children. Okay, and a lot of us are being psychologically manipulated, particularly black men. This is why you see a lot of black men behave the way they behave towards us, because they've entered into a contract, right? And that contract is being done by coercive psychological means, in terms of promising them certain things. They use the pastors within the church to create sermons that are feel-good sermons that are making them leave their husbands, their relationship, because those pastors don't want the men in control of their wives or their women. All right, when I say in control, don't mean like a slave type of mindset, meaning that they don't want this woman to look up to their man and for advice, for instructions when it comes to certain things. This is why a lot of men have left the church, right? Because they feel like they're competing with the pastor, for the attention and the love of their women. Because the woman will always talk about pastor this, pastor that, pastor said this, pastor said that. And that man is like, look, I'm the man of this house. Okay, the pastor got his own house, he got his own wife. But what these women don't understand, again, what saddens me is like, the healthcare industry is the largest employer of black women, right? Which means that black women who go into healthcare, they have to take psychology. And I talk about this a lot. They have to take a psychology, but how come they can never recognize the psychological game being played on them by the pimps and the pulpits? Huh? How come they never get to understand and recognize the psychological game that's being played on them. Because when you look at these pastors, these so-called multi-millionaire pimps in the pulpit, it is the women who are the vast majority who are feeding them money, right? They are the cash cows for these pastors, right? So this is why these pastors are always pushing on them to in terms of pushing them with their career, stuff like that, because they again, the more they earn is the more they're going to give it in the church, right? It's called tithing, right? So now you heard a couple of years ago, Claire $4 came out and said he was wrong about tithing. So why did he come out and do it? Because I'll tell you why. Because he is so wealthy that he doesn't need money anymore, right? And not also that, but he's trying to prevent other up-and-coming pimps in the pulpit from becoming wealthy. See, these people have an egotistical mindset. They preach about God and this and that, but we know God is very egotistical himself, the so-called God that they worship, right? He's a jealous God. Thou shalt never have no God before me, and blah, 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 all this stuff, right? But yet in the Bible, when you read, and it says, God sits in the council of other gods passing judgment, right? You go in the Bible, it says, I am the God of Egypt. I'm the God who brought you out of Egypt, right? So you had the Egyptian God, and he says, I am the God of Israel, right? I am the God who freed you from bondage in Egypt, okay? So again, what is this saying? One God is saying, I am the God of Egypt, right? And another God is saying, I'm the other God who brought you out of bondage out of Egypt. So again, people, we read this in the Bible and we don't think. Our mind is so conditioned to not have any sort of critical thinking or any sort of critical thought, right? So we wholeheartedly believe these things. We wholeheartedly say, well, that's just the Bible, it's just the way it is, it's God's word, right? Yeah, but which God? Which God? Right? Which God? So anyway, this is what it is that they do. The manipulation of people's mind and and trying to set up and sabotage those of us who they see as a threat. And then on top of that, let's talk about within the black community, where you have these black police officers, again, very religious, who are on the police force, who think, along with some of these white racists, that they're doing God's justice, right? And again, they never question and ask and say, hey, you know what? If we worship the same God, how come you're a white supremacist? I'm worshiping the same God you're worshiping. And if your God telling you that, you should do this to black people, right? Then if your God is my God, then I should do the same to my own people. But they never stop and think. Like I said, when they're out of uniform, that those same police officers who are non-black, maybe from a different precinct, pull them over, and it has happened. It has happened. And even when black police officers are in uniform, they'll meet white police officers who just don't care. Who just don't care. Even when they are above those patrol officers, right? They don't care. But it's something that these officers don't think about, because again, talk about the psychological conditioning, right? Anyway, so a guy in the all black, walks past, open up this bag, get a black bag. It's funny because Pam was lately she's been wearing a lot of black when she's been going up. Particularly if I'm there, she's, for the most part, always putting on black. Okay? Again, so it's the color, like I said, like they use, and such and blah, blah, blah. But, like I said, she will find out. And she will find out in the worst way. Okay? Because these individuals don't give a shit about her. All they care about is trying to destroy my life, right? They think that the thing is that I'm battling evil, because that's who they are. But they're masked under the ban off religion. Religion is evil. Sorry, it is. Particularly Christianity and Muslim religion. I don't care what you may believe or you may such and such. It's evil. If you read those texts, read those books, you'll understand it. You understand, right? Because nobody can ever really live by those books and rules. Okay? I mean, clearly we see the majority of people who commit crime in America are Christians. Okay? Okay? The majority of black people who are Christians are black women, and look at the majority of how they behave. Right? Even when they're married, they're breaking their vows and they're divorcing their husbands for whatever. What happened to the better for us? It's non-existent because they've replaced it with looking at what's that, plastic bag? Oh, it's a black plastic bag in the street. Yeah, see, color black again. Like I said, they do this thing strategically. So they place that there, and then she's walking and she's looking at it. I really didn't even notice it until she started looking at it. So yeah, like I said, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, so again, do they really believe what they claim to believe? And the answer is no. But they're too brainwashed and too asleep to understand. And when you try to explain to them, they'll hate you for it because of their conditioning. It is a built-in defense mechanism to where they will lash out in anger and hate. Okay? So, yeah. Let's walk over there because they keep on looking down. Because I want to show you guys. See, look at that. Oh, it's a black bag. That's what it is. On the street. Look. I walk. Look, even with the hand signal, hand behind the back. As I walked over there. Hand behind the back of the head, hand signal. Like I said, look, the other guy grabbing his crotch behind him, and then wearing a black book bag. Look, where his hands. See where he put his hands? Whenever the hand goes down like that when they're walking away, that's because they're grabbing the crotch. And every time I show you guys when they do it, this is what they'll start to do next. It's like they'll do it as soon as they walk. The hand goes up, the hand is up. Just looking at the bag in the ground. Yeah. So I want you to understand. I mean, listen, like I said, emotionally it doesn't really affect me. I just, have to reprogram my mind. Look. Stop right there. She's looking at the gray car across the street. Past couple of days, the color I've been talking about. This is the two colors I've been talking about: the gray color and the color black. Okay. So yeah. Anyhow, like I said, I had to recondition my mind so that when they do those things, I'm not emotionally manipulated. Like I said, there are times that it will affect you, but for the most part, like I said, if you really recondition your mind, reprogram your mind, you'll be able to, even when they do these blitz on you, it will affect you. But what I do, even though whatever negative emotion I'm feeling, I still have that frame of mind to record. Right? So when they start using the police to try to intimidate me, I record even more. Because that's my defense mechanism. And it's gotten to the point where it's so built into me now that when they start doing, I notice it, I start recording right away. All right? So once it becomes an automatic action, then, you've built a pretty good defense mechanism. All right? And yeah, so like I said, there's subliminal threats. They can keep doing it. I'm just keep on recording. Like I said, and I'm going to record as much as I can. All right? Anyway, my bus is here. I'll talk to you guys on the next video.